Bonjour to Cold Cans Nation. It's episode 97. Joey's back from Paris. I'm about to go to New York. We're the traveling elites. But today on the podcast, we're keeping it homegrown with some pumpkin beers and a new concept episode. Are you ready for this, Joey?
Our listeners love concept episodes and us talking about exotic tracks. I'm ready for it. Tell me about it. Hit me with it.
Today on the episode, we are pitting two beers against one another.
Wow.
And then whichever of those comes out on top, that will have the pleasure and privilege of being put into our Cold Cans rankings.
A true honor. Wow.
A true honor. And Joe, are you curious what those two beers might be?
Sure am. I can see them, but this is a audio medium, so tell me about them, Nick.
In the spirit of the season, that's Halloween. We've got a couple of pumpkin beers from Elysian, Dark of the Moon Pumpkin Stout, and Punkachino Coffee Pumpkin Ale. Which pumpkin will reign supreme? Joey ran to get a cup despite the fact that I got one right to his left.
God damn it. Hey, cheers, buddy.
Cheers. There we go.
Should we kind of, what's the format? Are we going to drink one of them together, or do we drink the alternating ones and talk about them independently? What do we want to do?
It's as if we didn't plan this at all.
And talk about it independently with the listeners having no idea which one of us is drinking which at any given time. No, let's go one at a time.
Yeah, that makes way more sense. Okay, we'll start with the pumpkin ale. That probably makes more sense.
The
than
Punkachino one? Coffee?
Right, then the pumpkin stout. Stout's probably going to be a little heavier.
Okay. I'm very excited about this.
Are you?
Ooh, that's still dark, though. Yeah.
That is. So this is the, Punkachino Coffee Pumpkin Ale.
I feel like you second-guessed yourself. You brought him in, and then I just was asking format questions, and then you were like, maybe we shouldn't do these. I think it's a good idea, Nick.
Thanks, Joey.
I do.
Should I believe in myself more often?
Yeah, well, I don't know. You don't want to do that too much. But
I know. Then you become a sociopath. But,
Yeah.
You got to Google search every now and again how to get more self-confidence.
Yeah.
And then you read the results for a couple minutes, and then you don't think about it again.
I wonder if the answer is do a fledgling podcast for 3.5 years about beer. Ooh, how's the first taste going down?
I like it. I've had this beer before. It's a nice, subtle, I think, pumpkin flavor.
Has the traditional pumpkin spice? You hear about this pumpkin spice craze going around the nation these days? It definitely has that pumpkin spice taste to it, though.
Yes, let me read you a little copy from the bottle here.
Okay.
A pumpkin ale with the attitude of a world-weary barista. Punkachino packs a short shot of Stumptown coffee in your pint with just a shake of cinnamon and nutmeg.
Yeah.
Contains lactose. Womp,
Ooh,
womp.
I might have to make another run during this podcast. You're going to have to fill more time.
Come on.
It won't be much time,
I'll
though.
fill your time.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
It's good. It tastes like pumpkin spice. The first sip
Yeah,
that
it
I
does.
got.
They have the cinnamon and nutmeg in there, which is often what pumpkin things taste like, not actual pumpkin.
Yeah.
Which is true here.
I bought pumpkin spice coffee grounds from the grocery store.
Purposely?
Yes, because Devin wanted them. My wife, Devin, wanted to get the grounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so I usually
Grounds
get
for divorce.
Well, it was going to be if I didn't get those grounds because she was super into them. I usually just get the breakfast blend. So this time I got this. All it is the same grounds, and then they put this fucking pumpkin spice in it. So now I'm like rinsing the water, the coffee filter through pumpkin spices
Okay.
and coffee grounds. It's not like the coffee was anything special, and it was just coffee grounds and pumpkin
cinnamon
spice
and nutmeg.
seasoning.
Okay.
Yeah. It worked pretty well, though. It's somewhat
I guess
subtle.
it makes sense because, how would you make coffee into a
Right. I don't know. It does.
pumpkin spice?
But when I was staring at it on the shelf, it was just magic, baby.
Marketing gotcha.
Yeah, it got me. This kind of tastes like that, though. It's pretty good.
Yeah, and I guess it does say coffee pumpkin ale, so it's not a shocker that there's actual coffee in there. But
Yeah.
are you tasting the coffee? Do you think?
A little bit, yeah. I wonder if I just attribute that taste, though, to the pumpkin spice flavor, because anytime I have pumpkin spice, it's in some sort of espresso drink.
Yeah.
Do you like pumpkin spice? If we establish this on the show,
I
or
don't
not?
usually drink it. No.
I don't either. Yeah.
Because it's just a sugary drink typically, which
Yeah.
I don't usually partake in. Now, you, on the way into the studio today, you asked me if I would like a coffee.
Yeah.
It's 5:30 p.m.
Well, the last time we did this show, you got a coffee.
I did.
For a very special
I was
guest,
dragging
Zach,
a little bit.
Yeah, you were dragging.
Sacked a ball in the pod.
I had a coffee before I went in. I didn't get you one
Today
because
you
you didn't
did?
want one, so I had one.
I was going to ask, yeah.
But
How do you feel?
well, because I was traveling in Paris.
I'm sorry,
in
I
France.
said I threw you under the bus in the intro. I clearly
you
I
didn't
didn't
throw
have
me under the bus?
I didn't have anything written, and so I was just pulling whatever we had just talked about out of my ass.
When you're in doubt, you're just pulling. But I got an espresso was the point I was going to make, which is what they drink. The French seem to just drink espressos and not like the full drinks. And I generally like that. Like I like drip coffee without any seasoning because of, like you said, I don't like all the sugary stuff. I just like coffee. So espresso
Yeah,
also
the sugar
works.
seems to have the opposite effect of what I want coffee to do to me.
Yeah.
Like I don't want a big sugary sit in my
Right.
gut, make me sleepy.
Man, that's a good point. I never even thought about it like that. I just think, oh, sugar and caffeine, that's what we want. We want a jolt. But the sugar is a different kind of high. It's not good.
Yeah.
It makes you feel like shit. Whereas just the caffeine, that's what I've been seeking. So it works. But that's why I also avoid pumpkin spice. That said, I like the spice. I like nutmeg and cinnamon.
Yes.
The pumpkin
I love
spice
this time
flavor
of year.
is good. Yeah, it reminds me of fall, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
This beer's pretty good. I like it.
In Paris, do they have similar like seasonal flavors going on right now in the food and drink that you have? No.
I think they're just very. We were there for 8 days. I think they kind of take everything right down to the elements. Like the food is I found to be just it's very rich, but it's very simple. It's like
Oh, I bet it is rich.
meat. Oh boy,
Sorry. Keep going.
it's meat, cheese, that kind of thing, and like a creamy base of something.
Okay.
And that's how they treat their coffee too. And so there's really no room to do a seasonal variety of anything. Like I
Nice.
said, they just are ripping espresso shots. That's kind of what they do. So I ate and drank through Paris.
What did you drink there?
For 8 days.
This being a beverage podcast.
I have a bit of a story. So we took a what was like a food tour kind of thing. It was basically like kind of like an Airbnb experience where we were with this
cool.
local guy, and it was just me and Devin, and he walked us to a market. Like all these streets have these little markets, or they'll be like on one side of the street there's like a fromagerie, it's like a cheese place. The other side of the street there's charcuterie. Then there's a bakery. And a patisserie, which is like they make like baked like cakes and stuff. And he just like got stuff from all of that, a ton of cheeses. And we just like sat down and he talked about them. And one of the things he said is we were drinking, and then we also got wine from a wine place. And we're drinking this great wine, eating this cheese. And he was like, he spoke English. He's like lived in North America for years and years, had no like broken English, no translation problems.
Okay.
And he says, no, I don't drink any alcohol at all. I don't like the way it makes me feel. It's bad. And I was like, oh, fair enough. He's like, how do you like the wine? Maybe like 10 minutes later, he was like, how do you like the wine? It goes with that cheese really well. I'm like, it does. This is really good. Tell me about it. He talks about it. He's like, I love wine. I drink it with every meal. I drink wine just like most French people do. And I was like, Paulo, what the fuck, man? You just told me you don't like
not lining up.
And he's like, I don't drink alcohol. He's like, I drink wine with every meal, and we'll drink beer most evenings, if not every evening. But I don't touch any alcohol. He was just calling alcohol hard alcohol.
Okay.
It wasn't a translation thing. He was just saying it's not okay to overdrink spirits.
How did that come up in conversation then? If you guys didn't have any spirits on the table, did you, while you were doing your little...
We kind of talked about like going out in Paris and what
Okay.
that's like. And he said a lot of people drink alcohol. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's what it's like in the U.S. He's like, but I don't like touching the stuff.
Gotcha.
But then later drops the fact that he drinks wine with every meal every day. For all I could tell, most people do. So we looked into it a little bit. The wine in France is super, super cheap. Like really good wine is $5 or less. And that's so because the government subsidizes it for locals so that people can enjoy really good wine. That's like a thing they've emphasized forever. And their goal is like to have no bottle of wine that's more than about $5.
Okay.
So you could always have wine. You always have bread and cheese, that kind of stuff. So they have it with every meal. And the wine is really high quality, but costs nothing. The food is really high quality, even though it's super rich. And so like normally when I've gone places and traveled for a while, I eat a ton of rich food or whatever, and usually we drink a ton, and I'll feel bad after like 2 days. I'm like, I gotta take a fucking break. I feel awful. I've felt great all through my time there in Paris, and I'm eating bread and cheese with every meal. I lost some weight, and I'm not. I think
you walked a ton. You told me. You think
I walked? Yeah, we
probably had
walked
something to do with
86
it?
miles in 8 days. But I think also the thing that adds up to it is the quality of the wine. It's really good wine. It's not garbage. And the food is very simple. This is cheese and this is bread that we made right there. And that's it. And you can kind of eat that stuff, which if you ate it the same thing maybe here, you'd start to feel awful. And you just never feel bad. I never felt bloated. I never got hungover. And we drank a lot of wine a few of the nights because it's so cheap. And I felt fine. I woke up completely fine. If I drank half as much wine in a given night as I did over there, I think I would wake up with a little bit of a stinging hangover here.
How are you sleeping? Do you sleep well each night? Or
I mean, I had a bit of jet lag early, but after that wore off, slept like a baby.
Nice.
And I don't know what it is. I think they just...
Hopefully other babies aren't sleeping with that much wine in their guts.
They might be there. They're all drinking wine all the time. I don't know. The first night we stopped at a little cafe and I was a little jet lagged and we were drinking a bottle of wine and one of the first things I did was smash my wine glass by accident off of the table onto a sidewalk in Paris, and had to apologize profusely in my broken, shitty French. But man,
can you reenact that for us?
Désolé, excusez-moi. That's what I kept saying, and then the guy was like. He saw my broken French. Was like, "It's fine. Don't worry about it." As he was cleaning it up, it was nice. It was nice. I'm too big for France. I was telling you, I think I'm the fattest person that has ever walked the streets of Paris. And they put the tables. Joe. They put the little circular table. You know what you have in your head. They put them all in a row, like along the sidewalk, and you sit there. And to get out to go to the bathroom or something. You get about a 6-inch gap between tables.
Yeah, we see that a little bit here even.
Yes, it gets a little packed. So anywhere where it's kind of densely populated, you're going to New York in a few days, you'll see the same thing. You kind of like have to sidle your way out. And I was being so careful not to interrupt the people next to me that I was like pushing my own table and then like looking over there, and that's when I batted the fucking glass off of my table.
Gotcha.
I was just too, my fat ass couldn't.
And then you're like, can I get a booth? Are there any booths?
Any fucking booths in here?
I go to Perkins, they got a booth for me with my name on it. What I'm doing here.
Yeah. You got any Perkins down the block? No, it was great.
I'm glad you had a good time. It sounded like you
time.
and Devin really enjoyed Paris. This was your first time for both of you?
First, she was there for like a little bit.
Oh, okay, nice.
She studied abroad college in London for a month or so and was in Paris for like a day or two.
Oh, cool.
So it was kind of her first time too. And I would say it's really not. It seems like it's going to be kind of unfathomably expensive to go there, but it really doesn't have to be.
Okay.
There's cheap accommodations. Like I said, wine is really cheap, and food is cheap if you want it to be. And we normally eat just kind of cheap, like streetish food. Of course, you can spend money if you want, but it's not a city that kind of demands it. So I don't know if you're thinking about a vacation and you're thinking about spending some money on a plane ticket because you're going to go around the world. Paris isn't like a crazy, insanely expensive place to go. I think people talk about it like it is. I didn't find it to be that way. You could definitely do it on a budget and not be robbing yourself. So it was great. The last point I want to say on the drinking in Paris.
Please.
We went to a bar that was a Delirium Tremens themed bar. It had the pink elephant. And I'd never even heard of this.
Some pictures you were tweeting.
Yeah, and I've never even heard of this beer before our last episode, and then it was everywhere there. So
that's cool,
and it was really good.
And you enjoyed some, yeah?
Oh yeah, it was as good as advertised. Devin tried it; she liked it. That was a lovely thing.
And you did have some critique of the pour that you made.
Yeah, it was a pour.
That was some mailbag action from Zach Jabal.
Our good friend and former guest on the show, Nick Lubchinsky, was in Paris while we were there.
That's right.
Him and his bride, and they were kind of doing a little bit of a delayed honeymoon, and it was near the end of it, and we met up with them.
Nice.
Nick said in some of the countries he was going through in his honeymoon, they pour it like that on purpose. The Czechs can order a beer like you'd order a coffee, where they say, I want either a heavy pour or even a heavy head, like full head,
Mhm.
or all head in the beer. Literally like no liquid, just head. And then they kind of like rip that as a lighter
Oh,
thing.
you rip the foam.
I don't really
ahead.
know how they rip it, but he's like, they just drink the foam and they like the foam. It's something that they do independent.
I forget if we talked about this or not, but I think the head gives some benefits of like giving you more of the aromatics of the beer because it's more like it's lighter, so the aromatics can sit in it. It's not just the liquid. So I think there's some benefit to having that, but
yeah, I mean, you certainly
maybe in
see.
that case.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of cultures that don't demonize it like we do. Like if you have an inch of head on your beer, everybody's like, "Oh man,
Yeah.
botched that
Well,
pour."
I went through that phase where I told you of aggressive pouring, where you try to like get all the carbonation out of it.
Right. You
And
were
that often
pouring it
ends in
straight
some-
down the middle. of the
Straight
glass.
down the pipe, and then you lose weight because half the beer spills on the table.
Yeah. Well, I also think you can get like the beer satisfaction in your mind, but not have a ton of the liquid if you have a heavy head pour. And I think that's what, especially I've
mean,
never
in
been
theory,
to these
you're
countries.
getting all of the same liquid, or is this is
No,
a
I
draft
mean, it takes
beer?
up more of the
you're
glass. Yeah,
saying?
it's a draft. That's what I meant. So you can ask to pour it like that,
Gotcha.
and then you get less, but you can kind of savor it. I think some of these countries, I haven't been to them, but what our good friend Nick was saying was like, I think some of these countries, beer is looked at differently. They're drinking it all the time, and so they don't mind different varieties. They want the taste of it. Seems like the good
Yeah, I
life,
almost
man.
never drink beer, so I want it to be pristine every single time. I'm not willing to experiment. It happens so rarely.
Yeah, as you take your last drink of this glass, I'm close to that.
Yeah. This is still going down well. I like the flavor of it.
It's going to be a tough one to unseat.
Yeah.
I agree. What were you saying?
This is a 6% beer.
Okay.
We do have a beer advocate ranking.
Wow.
Should I do that now or wait till we pick one? I guess I could wait till we pick one. Not
Yeah,
to be
kind of at the
influenced.
end we do both.
But
beer
there is
advocate.
there is a review from a user named Raul Mondesi, so that's fun.
Raul's fun. What does he have to say? Oh, you're saving it.
I'll save it.
That's a little.
Do you remember Raul
breadcrumb for the
Mondesi? He played for like the Expos, I think.
Oh no, I
Yeah.
see. So somebody was taking, or that's Raul himself.
Raul is now giving 8-sentence beer advocate reviews.
Yeah, that's what he sits at his computer and
For
does with
pumpkin
his
beers.
retirement
Yeah.
time and money.
Yeah.
That's nice. I got one travel story that I love.
One more travel story?
No, well, it's kind of unrelated to everything about talking about. I guess it's a little bit talking about drinking, but it's really about a guy that.
Oh, right. You said you had some, yeah. Is this airport fun or is this something else?
It's akin to airport fun, but it's not. So we did one day tour out to Champagne where we drank champagne and it was cheap and it was cool. We saw like these people making it. It was
Nice.
fucking great. So we go to this small winery. We went to like the big one, like Moet or whatever, that makes all the champagne. We went to that
Okay.
one, did a big tour, kind of like maybe doing a tour at the Miller Coors Brewing Company in Milwaukee. It probably is. Like it was about scale.
Awesome.
And then we also went to a small one. It was like just a guy in his few acres of grapes, and then he makes these small batch champagnes that he just sends out to France, doesn't even export them. And his whole life is champagne, and he's very proud of it. And he's talking about all the soil and the generations of family. And we did this tour through like a tour company, and so it was like there was like 8 of us total, and 2 of the people that were there were these people from New York, who were monsters, just monsters of individuals. And the first thing this guy says at this place, he goes, champagne's really not for me. Like, I don't get the bubbles. I don't get it. I don't like champagne all that much. He's saying this to this guy.
Is this a fair representation of his voice?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
He's probably not, but this is what I could approximate. He's saying it to this guy whose life is making champagne. He says,
Right.
bubbles kind of taste like shit, if you ask me. Like, why did even, and he was saying, like, why do you even have to have the bubbles? And the guy was like, it's just how we make it. He's like, it's not for me. It's not my favorite. He's like, looking at us for affirmation, because we're the only other 2 Americans there. And I was just like, I can't. Could you imagine going into this person's home and
Why
saying
go?
your
Why
thing?
go?
Yeah. What did you expect on your tour of drinking champagne any differently than what it is, which is that drink? Anyway, people are
If
insane.
you think.
now. I think people are totally insane. That's an insane thing to do.
Yeah, that's a fun one. I suppose you'll run into that sometimes in those
Yeah.
places that are, prone to tourists.
Yeah, and again, we were doing a tour, like a full experience thing. God, they were just nightmares the entire time. They were responding to emails on their phone like while they were doing the fucking walking tour and stuff.
Wow.
So
commerce never stops, baby.
That's what was going on.
And they're that important.
I know. And like the irony is like the conversation throughout the day was like, out here we just kind of like work a little bit and then we kind of drink and eat and we're very happy. We're very there's like very little stress in this way of life, and she was like responding to her work email as this was happening. It was fucking insane. Should we move on to the next beer?
Let's move on to the next beer, Joey. This is Elysian's Dark of the Moon Pumpkin Stout.
Okay, so this one, what was the last one? What was the type?
The last
of beer?
one was a Punkachino coffee pumpkin ale.
So they didn't classify it any further than just an ale.
No,
but with their own Punkachino classification, I guess. This is the same color, deeply dark.
Deeply.
A little bit of like a foamy. It kind of has like a coffee.
Yeah, I was gonna say this one. I guess it has the stout.
Yeah, the head is
the head of the
like,
stout. Yes,
it's brown. Like just the head itself looks like it's like some ales and stuff like that. It's very dark. This beer, like there's no transparency through the
opacity. Yeah.
Wow.
Dark of the Moon Pumpkin Stout is spookily smooth and chocolatey with a touch of cinnamon.
Oh.
7.5%.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
Oh
man.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. That is silky smooth.
It's chocolatey. Yeah.
Were you your first year here? I believe your roommate Eric was hosting a party.
Yeah.
With all his roommates, and we did like a pumpkin beer tournament. Was that your first year?
I think so, yeah.
So it was a while ago
pumpkin
now.
Beer tasting.
And if I can remember correctly, this Dark of the Moon won it.
I think Night Owl won it.
Night Owl did win it?
I was just talking about with him recently.
Okay.
Night Owl won.
I thought Dark of the Moon was, because Night Owl was the one I had heard of, so that ended up winning. But man, this thing is really good. I think I've had it before, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't associate it till I just took that sip. Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's smooth. And I like stouts. That's a this time of year type beer. Like you're never going to have it outside of this, essentially.
It's crazy how, like, when we're recording in the summer and we, like, go through the rankings and you see some of these stouts and darker beers, how off-putting that seems like.
Yeah.
Like, even though I know what the context that I drank it in, I'm like, oh, God, why is that high? The last thing I want to do is drink a stout. And now it's been raining. It's the fall, turning into November, and I want nothing more. It
fits perfectly. Spooky season. This bottle, it's got a werewolf type figure in front of a full moon.
Very spooky.
Very beautifully done.
Show me that. I'll get nightmares tonight.
Want to get even more spooked? Here's the coffee pumpkin ale.
Oh, spooky jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah,
now
it's like a jack-o'-lantern stealing a cup of Joe.
Wow, that's my least favorite thing. I want my Joe. You know, it's scary because that pumpkin is just a vegetable. And it shouldn't be a ghoulish figure. That's what makes jack-o'-lanterns so scary.
And it has arms. Yeah, its arms are like vines.
Its arms are vines. The worms are currency. The worms are money. Whatever that.
What?
Fucking. I Think You Should Leave by Tim Robinson when he's singing.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, God, I can't remember how it goes.
Speaking of moving pictures, though, we both saw Joker recently.
Oh, that's right. Speaking of spooky scary.
Chat Joker, yes.
Well, let's chat Joker. I have not got your opinion at all on it.
No.
Give it to me.
Okay, so I came into this seeing mixed reviews online.
Yep.
And then you saw it and you said you loved it.
I did. I have a bit of caveats there, but I'll elaborate later.
I didn't like it that much.
Wow.
I would give it a 4 or 5 out of 10.
Wow. Okay, why?
I think the problems that I had with it, I started explaining away and I don't want to give it away, but I think the soundtrack is questionable in a lot of moments.
That's one of my favorite parts.
Really?
There's one moment that's viral at the moment where I thought the soundtrack was absolutely insane, and I'll give you that. But
I think it could be explained away that those are the songs that are in his head.
Yeah.
So he's
that's what I like.
Twisted, and these songs that don't necessarily fit these moments are what he's imagining.
Because they cut deliberately to either no sound after those moments or a totally different dramatic thing.
Right.
And it doesn't make any sense unless it's a poorly made movie, and I do not think that was a poorly made movie.
Yeah. So I think that is mostly fine. I think it's still a little questionable, like the stairs scene, that song.
That's the one that's going viral right now.
Right.
It was questionable, but again, I think like I thought it worked. I didn't think I didn't sit in the theater and go, "Oh my God." I thought it worked because you are kind of in his head at that moment.
Right.
Okay. My caveat, I actually thought the score was great.
Okay.
I said it was great. If you take
the score might have been great. I don't know if the songs they chose to go with it, like the non-original songs.
Well, maybe I'm using the term score wrong then, because I thought that was kind of.
I think that means like original music that's been penned
kind of
for
ambient stuff, and stuff like that. I thought that also was great. I said it's excellent if you take it as a comic book movie about this comic book character Joker and where he came from.
Sure.
If you take it as a parable for the times, if you take it as something that's going to like change your life and perspective on things,
I think that's what most people have been doing, though. Right? I think they're like, this is a reflection of our current political climate
and get
society.
I get that because it kind of touches on that, but I didn't expect that. Nor it was a movie about the Joker. It's a fucking Batman movie, and I went into it with that and loved it. Like I don't know if we were in the same woke culture where we put memes and stuff on Twitter when Dark Knight came out, would it have been shittily reviewed and mocked? Because it's like, is that really what's the sign of the times right now? Really, we're going to be that ham-fisted about this stuff? No, it was just a cool comic book movie.
It's true. Being steeped in the Twitter conversation around it makes it seem worse than it is, I think. Like, people are overly cynical about it.
Right. It's that fanboy mentality or whatever of being like, this sucks, and I'm woke because I think this sucks.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's a fucking superhero movie, and I thought it was excellent. It's so much better than Avengers, which is just content
there's
garbage.
There's some great acting, obviously.
Excellent acting.
Like it's a wonderful performance by Joaquin Phoenix. 5 bags of popcorn.
It's a 5-bagger.
It's like what I started sounding like on cinema.
Yeah, it's De Niro was great as the Joker.
I think that's a good point, actually, and something I didn't think about is that it's sort of comic book-like. It's like the Watchmen movie in a lot of ways. When you can tell it's like, okay, this was a graphic novel that was made into a movie.
Yeah.
Same thing with the show Gotham. I think a lot of the storylines in there, especially revolving around the Penguin character, seem outlandish.
Yeah.
But it does also feel like it's a comic book, which is cool in a lot of ways. Like the talk show scenes in particular, those come across as comic book scenes.
Yeah.
They're a little like, disbelievable, I think, within normal like film whatever, like the flow of a film. It's like, okay, now this character who's nothing is now like on this national stage within like a week.
Yeah. But
but in a comic book sense, yes, it is like that.
It is in comic books, and I think realism is only, it's bounded by like the genre and the form of the movie. Like you don't watch you buy into the truth of the universe that it is. So something can be realistic in the confines of the world where Batman exists and Bruce Wayne's identity is masked and he has all these gadgets and like there are super villains that are half penguin, half man and stuff like that.
Right.
Then realism is only defined in that boundary, and something can be unrealistic in that universe where you go, that wouldn't happen in this universe. But it's not fair to say like that wouldn't happen in the world I live in right now, because that's not what the movie's trying to do. And I think it's getting punished for being in that comic book universe, but also touching on themes about what's going on around us right now.
There weren't really any of those supernatural themes in this movie, though. Like, it's just the Joker.
Well, I think that's what worked so well is like it's not all comic book stuff, but there are scenes like exactly like you said, like the fact that he's on this talk show that's like immensely popular, where you're spent so much time in like his head, but he does living in this universe. And then when he enters that like comic book universe and you feel like you're in a comic book movie again, it's even more jarring and sort of like unsettling and twisted, baby. I don't know. I think it got memeified about that. Like everybody likes making fun of the Joker online and everything. And I think
ever since the like Jared Leto stuff, when they're talking about all the pranks he would pull on the set of,
and that stuff is trash.
Whatever it's called.
Watching
Suicide
that movie
Squad.
sucked. Watching this
seen
movie
it.
didn't suck. I watched Suicide Squad, some of it on a plane, about half of it.
Okay.
And I could not watch any more of it. I really liked this movie, Joker. I don't think it's a 5-bagger for me, and one little lipstick on the end.
Ah, okay. Lipstick on the pig, probably. Dressing this shitbag up.
No, but
one other problem I had, by the way, is when the kids steal his sign at the beginning of the movie, and then they're beating the shit out of him in that alley.
Yeah.
The dialogue of those kids is like, beat him up harder. That's what they say.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That's like in the moment that
pretty
stood
lazy.
out. I'm like, what is that communicating about this world? I guess that was
Yeah.
where I got lost in trying to justify the things I saw as shortcomings. Because the soundtrack, I can see it's a good point about the comic book thing. I didn't really think about that, but that sort of explains some of those more fantastical elements of like, he goes from absolutely nothing, just starts stand-up comedy, and now all of a sudden they like morphed these weird, like our current day where cell phones, everything's available immediately. Like someone would film this guy in a comedy club and then he goes viral and he's on Fallon a week later with that like 1970s vibe or whatever it was.
Yeah,
where
I didn't think about that.
Someone happened to be filming him in a comedy club.
Right. Why was he filmed in a comedy club? You're right. I didn't think about that. The fact that it like went viral. That's like kind of I don't think we're spoiling too much, but like.
I don't think so. Yeah, I've been trying not to, but.
We're not giving away. I guess we're giving away a little bit of the plot, but it's not anything critical. Like there are a couple of like twists and stuff, and the movie's great, but we didn't give any of that away. We'll have to agree to disagree. I thought it was good. I wouldn't call it like a powerful movie or like a movie that, like some of my favorite movies, like Ex Machina, well acted, well scored, well like filmed. And also was like very powerful to me and made me think, and like it did everything that I love about great movies. I would put this in that category, but it's also not trash. I've seen so much fucking trash.
And don't get me wrong, I don't think it's trash either. I think
you
the
gave it a
acting
4.
is great. I guess that's based on my expectations going in. I was amped for it, I think, and
damn it, I probably
it fell short in
screwed
some
you
ways.
there because I was so glowing with it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Actually, I bet my experience is the same thing. My expectations were on the other end because of how much garbage you read about it
on Twitter.
online.
Yeah.
And I watched it. I was like, this is pretty fucking good. I don't really get what everybody's upset about.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought it was good.
And I think Joaquin Phoenix is a strong enough actor to pull it through some of the like shortcomings as well.
Yeah, that's undeniable, is that he was excellent in it.
Yeah.
And some of the things he did were really, I don't know if it was like terrifying, but it was just like well done. And there are a few like tense scenes, we talk about it after the podcast, that like I thought were really well done.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was good. Spooky, scary, much like these beers we're drinking. That's my shitty
let's
segue back to the
check
beers.
in on the Dark of the Moon Pumpkin Stout.
This is exceptionally smooth. I think a lot of malty beers that I drink, I'm the big hop boy. You know me. But I also have a soft spot in my heart for malty, and I think when malty beers are done well, they have that kind of silkiness, velvetness to them, and this one does. I like this a lot.
And I think the kind of fall flavors balance that malty sweetness well. I think that's what's working here too.
Yeah. More than the first beer we had, which was a little imbalanced with that pumpkin spice. It was right there. This one's
It was
just
a
sort
lot
of
more in your face, yeah.
This one, your initial taste, like on the front of your tongue, is like just smooth, good beer. And then at the very end, the aftertaste on the back of your tongue is like, oh, there was that pumpkin spice. That's good. Whereas the first one, it's just all, here's your pumpkin spice, you fat fuck. I hope you like
Come
it.
on. Yeah, I am a little
I wasn't
surprised
calling you a fat fuck.
Well, I know, but
It was the eponymous
just in
you?
general.
Eponymous?
No.
What's the word when you say you, but you mean everyone?
The royal you? I don't know. It's definitely
Universal?
not eponymous.
What's eponymous?
That means like it's named after you or something.
No. Let me look it up.
Isn't that like, so if Cher has an album called Cher, it's her eponymous album.
Yeah, you're right.
I think that's what that means.
The royal you, is that what it is then?
Maybe, I don't know.
It's when you use a pronoun that's like, I don't mean this directed to you. I meant as you. You know what I mean? Universal. Maybe that is what it is. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, and you just have to say universal, assuming it's spelled Y-O-U.
Right. That's good.
Whatever.
There you go.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Landed it. You had a October Halloween pun you wanted to use.
Yeah, what was it? It was
Podagast.
Podagast. I'm aghast. Podgast.
It's a spooky podcast.
Podagast. I think it works a little better in the written form than it does over the audio form. Podagast. What do you think?
Yeah, we're recording our podcast.
Yeah, you should be a guest.
I think it works better spoken because you can do the like ooh voice with it.
You do a really good spooky scary voice. You know that?
Thanks, buddy.
I don't have that in me.
That's why I love this time of year especially.
Because you do a good spooky scary voice. And you're good at puns, name puns.
Well, that was what I brought up when you said the Podagast thing.
Yeah.
I said I like it, and I also want an apology for the last however many years we've known each other when I've gotten flack for
puns,
doing reach puns like that.
You know, we can evolve as people. I might have evolved into a pun guy these days. I might be the big pun boy, the BBP, the BPB. Can I try the spooky voice?
Yeah, do it.
A Podagast. Ooh. No, what did you do? Ooh. Ha, 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 ha.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's fun. I know it's not as good as yours. Yours is good. Are you going to throw the Halloween party this year, or is that dead? Is that tradition dead?
You were invited on Facebook. Check Facebook.
I don't check
events.
Okay, so it's on. When is it?
And
Halloween
I couldn't find
night?
Devin on there either, so I had to tell her
she's off
individually.
She's done. She took a cue from you.
Nice.
Halloween night or what?
Take a tip from me.
Wow.
Take all your money, give it all to charity. Sublime once said.
What day is it? Don't tell me.
We're going to take a commercial, and we'll be right back here on 97.2. It's the week. Why are we doing this on the podcast?
Tell me.
It's the week after. So it's like Halloween's on a Thursday, I think. So it's that following Saturday.
Fuck, I'm going to be gone. November
Really?
2nd?
Yeah.
God
Where are you?
damn it. I'm going to Orlando on the fucking day of the 2nd.
I think we did
Wish
talk
I was
about
going
that
on the
already.
day of the 3rd now. Oh, this
Push
sucks
that flight.
ass.
Push that flight.
Oh.
You don't need to be
I'm so bummed.
sipping mimosas on your flight to Orlando while we're partying at my haunted mansion.
I love your haunted parties. This sucks ass.
And this year, we're going to turn one of the covered patios into we're going to put a tarp up so it's like this own little encased room. And it's going to be decorated as like some sort of spooky area. It's going to be great.
This sucks.
It's the spooky season, Joe.
I have
Things
to
like
figure
this
out
happen.
how to go. I have to go. God
Now this will
damn
be
it.
some like teen movie where they need to figure out how to make everything work. So they pass the test and they get the girl.
I
That's what
need
you
that.
need to
I need to
do.
pass the test and get the girl of your party. Let's put these against each other.
Yes.
God damn it. You're building a tent fort spook thing?
Building a tent fort. It's going to be the most Instagrammable event of the year. All right. So head-to-head, Elysian, I forget how it's actually said. Punkachino Coffee Pumpkin Ale or Dark of the Moon Pumpkin Stout.
Well,
that was the second one we had. First one was the Coffee Pumpkin Ale.
What's the fairy tale where the Headless Horseman? Head-to-head, one of these doesn't even, much like the eponymous Headless Horseman, doesn't even have a head on it, which is the
It doesn't have a head to stand on.
There it is. The Pumpkinchino is shit. Dark of the Moon, not shit. It's good. For me, Dark of the Moon wins.
Joe is feeling the 7.5%. I agree. I like malty beers.
Why do you have to do the party on Saturday? Why can't you do it on Friday?
Because
God damn it.
people work and no one wants to do anything.
Friday night, people work?
You know how
This
people
sucks.
are. Be careful, Joe, with those mics.
Yeah,
Being
we got
too loud.
new mics.
We're testing out some new mics.
Hopefully it sounds good.
Sound off on anchor.fm. Let us know how they sound.
Which one did you say? Which one?
I agree. The one you said, Elysian Dark of the Moon Pumpkin Stout. I like that malty beer. I think it's balanced well by the slight touch of cinnamon. And it does say chocolatey. I think it's smooth, which makes me think of chocolatey, but I don't really taste chocolate in it.
Yeah, I guess I agree with that. I ran out of mine. I drank it so quickly. I don't think I did. I just tasted the stout, and then again, at the end, I tasted a little bit of the spice. That works really great.
Okay, so that's the one we're going to rank, the Dark of the Moon Pumpkin Stout.
Okay.
Let's look at those rankings.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do the beer advocate score.
Yeah, give me the beer.
It is an 88 or very good.
Wow. Is this distributed nationwide? Can any of our listeners
Yeah, I think so. So I have this from a pumpkin pack that Elysian sells that has their 4 pumpkin beers in it. It's these 2, Elysian Night Owl, which is on our rankings in the top 10, I believe.
Right.
And another one, which I don't know offhand.
Another one. Elysian Night Owl is number 16, actually.
Oh, okay.
It's been bumped quite a bit.
It's in the Zen 10.
It is.
Or no, it's whatever's right above that.
Okay, I'm looking through the rankings.
Oh, it's in cream of the... That's still cream, apparently.
Cream goes down to 16 now?
Those are getting out of hand.
Well, I think we just have to move that around a little bit. Right? We didn't do that right.
No.
Now in hindsight. Okay, I have a place for it.
Okay.
But I think we might disagree.
Okay.
Can I give that teaser? I think we might disagree on the place for it. Wow. Much like our review of the film Joker.
I think we should disagree. Yeah.
You want to know what category I have it in?
Yes.
Zen 10.
Okay.
Where do you have it? Where were you looking?
That is around where I was looking. God, it's heartbreaking to put this in front of Longboard Lager because it's just such a seasonal thing. But, okay. And maybe I won't. We'll see. You want a 3, 2, 1 it?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
22.
So you do have a behind lager.
You had it right up against Old Rasputin Russian Imperial Stout.
Yeah, I wanted to put it right behind there. Swivelhead Red IRA was actually really good.
It's good.
I'm leaning towards your...
I'm with you. Like,
and Foster's at 22.
Foster's needs to be re-ranked. We need to atone for those sins.
Foster's and Santo.
Again, I think we thought that Santo was sent to us. It was a lovely beer. Foster's, I think we were on a back-to-back episode. I think the beer also hit us hard.
That one is out of place in its like beer advocate score among other ones.
Yeah.
It's the only poor one. The only one that's not even okay up there.
We thought it was pour me another.
We did at the time. Pour me another diesel can of this Foster's. All right, I like your spot for that.
You do? Okay.
Do.
So it's our new 22.
I do. I say yes to the stout.
A spooky, scary episode.
Scary.
Joker needs to be put in the right expectation and context to be appreciated.
That was good. You were hoping I'd play you off with that,
yeah,
weren't
but you were behind.
I was pulling
now
up
you
the
have
music.
to do a bit. Now, no, this is on you. Don't turn that up. You have to do a bit to close it out now.
Spooky, scary friends avoiding your Halloween party that you spent all month planning. They decide to take business trips to spooky Orlando, Florida.